Quickies. Is there any greater thrill than racing against the clock to experience pure sexual bliss? I have made a lot of videos about how to take your time and really do it right, but look, sometimes we're in a rush, and it is no secret that warm-up and foreplay are mostly the keys to experiencing the heights of an orgasmic, pleasurable, amazing sexual journey together. But when it comes to sex, as you already know, variety is key. Hi, I'm Caitlin V. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm on set right now filming my new course on getting and staying hard called Hard As You Want. In the meantime, let's talk about those times when you don't have the time for an extended song and dance routine. Meaning you want to get in and get off and get out fast. This can be incredibly fun, but there are some things that you have got to keep in mind in order to make the most of your quickie, and that is what I'm going to share with you today. I'm your sex and relationship coach, and this video is all about Caitlin V's 5 tips for an incredible quickie. Because you know what? Quickies, especially when done right, peppered in with, your normal sexual encounters, keep things spicy. They keep things exciting, and they're fun as hell. So let's get in there. Number 1, there's a right and a wrong time for the quickie. When it comes to quickies, timing is the most critical factor, and you have got to both be into it. I mean, revved up and ready to go. And that's because you do not have the time for all the awesome foreplay that I would usually recommend prior to intercourse. So it is really important that if you decide to go for it, you are both truly prepared to go for it. I mean, energy and enthusiasm are what makes a quickie special. And if you are hoping to get an orgasm out of it, which if you've been watching my content for a while, you know that I'm an advocate for taking the pressure off of orgasms and focusing more on pleasure. But this is actually one instance where I totally get the desire to get from 0 to orgasm really quickly. Still, pleasure remains top priority. I mean, if it doesn't feel good, what's the point of an orgasm? But in the quickie, coming is usually the goal, and coming as fast as possible is the desired result. So with that in mind, momentum is everything. So if one or both of you is sort of like lukewarm, it's really difficult to get that momentum going. Chances are the quickie's not going to be that successful. Get the momentum going, then get in there. Number 2, turn pressure into pleasure. Most of us agree that stress and pressure typically don't result in great sex, but when it comes to a quickie, they're actually the secret ingredient. You see, if you want to have great quickies, you've got to work towards the ability to be 100% present and turn that pressure into pleasure. I mean, it's a equation that is as old as time itself. The feeling of pressure to get on and get in can actually be transmuted, be transformed, be sort of alchemized into pleasure and satisfaction. Rather on focusing on the time itself, focus instead on how desperate you are to please your partner as fast as possible. Those high stakes can lead to explosive passion if you maintain that perspective. Since you don't have time, you have to infuse every single moment with intensity, and it's kind of intense to begin with. That's what makes it so great. I mean, the other awesome thing about quickies is that they're novel. Like, it's novel to be in a rush. It's novel to create this fast pace. It's a unique circumstance. It's one of the most interesting varieties that you can introduce into your sex life. It doesn't require vast experience of kink or a whole lot of communication skills. It doesn't even require you to take off your clothes. And actually, that is one of my tips. When it comes to the quickie, remove as little clothing as possible, because that's just going to eat into your time. So pants around your ankles, underwear pushed to the side, shirts on, but grab and lick and get in contact with all of the skin that is exposed. I mean, this is one of the other things that makes quickie so great and rich with tension. Sure, maybe your partner prefers to have their nipples licked and sucked during a normal sexual encounter, but you can't get in there when you're in the bathroom or the dark corner and you're racing against the clock. You just got to go with what's accessible. You don't have access to your partner's complete body. You have constraints, and constraints themselves actually cause us to be more creative, and they can be super, super kinky. Number 3, stick to what works. Considering that time is of the essence, a quickie is not the moment to experiment with a new technique or a new position. Like I said, the goal here is to get each other off as fast as possible, and the best way to do that is to stick with your tried and true, the position that you always save for last, the one that's guaranteed to push you over the edge. Don't wait for the finale, get right in there and go with that. If you usually use a vibrator or a hand on your partner's clit, get in there. Do not be shy. Do not hold anything back. Put all of your cards on the table right away. Do what you know brings you and your partner pleasure, and do it with abandon. And of course, don't be afraid to communicate. Tell your partner that you need it harder, faster, slower, where to put their hand, or where to put their lips. This is not the time to mince words. Get in there, tell them what works, tell them what doesn't work. Be direct and do it with hunger and intensity, because in this situation, it can be incredibly hot. Number 4, Caitlin B's 5 tips for an excellent quickie is prepare to switch gears. So if for whatever reason you start with the intention of having a quickie, but it actually doesn't pan out, do not force it. Our bodies can be unpredictable, to say the least, and even more so when it comes to sex. So maybe you're not able to get to the right level of wetness or erection. Although be sure to check out my course, Hard As You Want, if you do have that problem, because we'll fix it. You can still make the most out of your quickie. You can still make the experience incredibly hot and super enjoyable. And of course, you always have the option to switch from maybe the quickie that was PIV intercourse to oral sex to just a hot and heavy makeout session. You can always just pivot to what's actually available in the moment without making either one of you wrong or feel bad or like you weren't able to perform. And of course, it goes without saying, but I'm gonna say it anyways, nobody needs to orgasm for a quickie to be successful. It does not matter if one or both of you is able to or not able to. It's great if you are, and it doesn't mean that it was any less of a successful quickie if you're not. Being hot and heavy, kissing, groping, feeling each other up in your car before work, still worth it in my opinion. Yeah, quickies are a sprint, but if you zoom out, they're part of a longer marathon. So if you don't climax during your quickie, consider it foreplay. Call it a sneak peek of what's to come later. And speaking of later, number 5, don't forget about aftercare. This is my final tip. It comes at the end, just like at the end of your sexual encounter. No matter how long you've had sex, it is beneficial and, in my rule book, necessary to take a moment to ground and connect afterward. Again, you're racing against the clock and each second counts. So this might mean just collapsing into each other and enjoying a kiss, or exchanging just a brief second of eye contact, maybe taking a deep breath together, maybe as many as 30 seconds together. Make sure that you ground that experience right away. And then of course, after, you can check in with your partner later with a text message. Let them know how much you enjoyed the experience. Putting in the energy and taking the time to acknowledge each other after a sexual encounter is so important to maintaining a strong sexual connection, and it is always worth the effort. So there you have it, a quickie video on quickies. Let me know what you think in the comments. And of course, I always love to hear your advice and your experiences. So put your quickie tips or your quickie highlights and memories into the comments. I love to see them. And remember, just like with all things, the more practice we put in, the better that we get. Keep trying those quickies with new partners and old partners. You will figure out over time what works for you and what doesn't. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel if you want more advice on how to have the best sex of your life, long, short, and everywhere in between. I'll see you next week.